Hello, this is Kaylee Oldroyd with Part 2 of Latin American Catholic Church Records Finding Aid Instructions. The first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking for the parish name. One thing you should know about parish records is they are often kept in books. They would contain opening statements or cover pages. An opening statement would look like a paragraph, and it's going to be on the very first inside page of the book. Or it could have a cover page, also one of the very first pages. And these just serve to show what's within the record. So it would say it's within a certain parish, in a certain municipality, and a certain event type. So an event is a baptism, confirmation, a marriage, or an obituary. Sometimes it will contain other special records that the priest may have taken, but those are the main ones that we'll be looking at. Occasionally, for this example, we would be seeing that there are two parishes within one book. That's pretty rare. It doesn't happen all the time, but it does, especially in more developing communities, depending on the history of that place. So you'll be looking for the buzzwords freguesia or paróquia. So those both mean parish in Portuguese. They're used kind of interchangeably, depends on the priest. And so I trained my eye to kind of look for those words within the first few sentences. In this first photo on top, I can see that it says, "This book will serve to record the baptisms of the free people of the parish of Nossa Senhora Mãe dos Homens and Araranguá." And we'll read at the end, "the parish of Santo Antonio dos Anjos in the Cidade da Laguna," which is the city of Laguna, 25th June 1878. So a majority of this book is probably just Nossa Senhora Mãe dos Homens, but I did see, because I looked for that buzzword freguesia, that there was a second one included. Again, that's pretty rare to find multiple parishes in one book, but it is possible. So just train your eye to look for freguesia and read the name afterwards. If it's the same, then it's probably just continuing to talk about the parish. If it's different, it's probably saying that there are multiple. And I would just put that in the notes that there's another parish mentioned, and then a specialist will go through and we'll sort it at another time. This bottom photo is an example of a cover page, and it just says Livro de Batismos, which just means Book of Baptisms of the parish of Araranguá. And this one used the word paróquia, and if you watched part 1, you know that sometimes the spellings are a little bit different, so don't be freaked out by that. Just look for the words freguesia and paróquia and you should be good. The last thing I wanted to mention is that parishes could go by either a patron saint and or a municipality. So they're used kind of interchangeably. For instance, this paróquia de Araranguá could also be the exact same parish as this freguesia de Nossa Senhora Mãe dos Homens. They just usually use those names interchangeably. We will always just write what we see though, so we're not going to try to guess which one is which. Just write what you see. So the next thing we're going to find is the municipality name. The municipality name typically comes after the parish name. So again, if you've looked for that buzzword freguesia, and for example on this photo it says freguesia de Nossa Senhora da Conceição de Barra Velha. So that one's saying that it's in the municipality of Barra Velha, and that's pretty much how it always is. It's typically always in that order, and if it's not, I'll give you a little bit of a workaround for that in just a bit. So you can find information within opening statements and event entries. So that was, again, like the baptisms, the marriages, the obituaries. Sorry, I skipped a page while I was still talking. All right, the next thing we're going to find is the date range. So books are typically in chronological order. We're going to be finding the date range by looking at the very first entry and looking at the very last event entry. And if you're kind of confused by that, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how you do that in just a minute. So again, from the first video you watched, we know we can look at the wiki page if we need some help kind of translating dates. So here, this one says 1905, and we know that after translating that, it just means 1905, so that would be the beginning one. And then you go to the last entry, you do the same thing, look in the first line to find that year, and then that's how you find the date range. If there's no opening statement or it's too hard to read, you can always look inside the events. Again, events are baptisms, marriages, confirmations, obituaries, anything like that. It should have these events, and it will start off with a name. You can see on this one, I kind of blocked it out, sorry, but it says Bernardina and her last name. And then it'll start off with this format. So it always goes date, parish, municipality within those first two lines. Occasionally there might be a few that are not like that because the priest did it his own way, but you should be kind of able to figure it out because they will do it the same in books and make it pretty uniform. So if we look at this one, it says 1884, and that means 1884 in English. And then we see that buzzword freguesia, G, and then we have a nice little abbreviation like we learned in that first video, which basically translates to Nossa Senhora da Conceição de Barra Velha. So we got those three things that we need already in this one entry. So we got the date, the parish, and the municipality. Again, we will write things just as we see it. So on my sheet, I would just put it typed out, 1884. Of course, I'd find the last date and I'd find the range. Then for the parish name, I put N.S. even though I know that probably means Nossa Senhora da Conceição, Barra Velha, Santa Catarina. One other thing I want you to know is on these sheets, you do not need to be able to have these diacritics. So if you have an English keyboard, just leave those like C sigilias and the other diacritics out. You can just type it just the best you can in regular English characters. Lastly, we have a notes column, and you can use this for a variety of reasons. You can put that maybe you skipped something because you tried your best to read through the documents, but they were really just too hard to read, and then a specialist will come back and they'll fill in the information. You can write spelling. If you're unsure of spelling, you think you almost got it, but you're not quite sure if it's an A or an E or an O or something similar. And then lastly, if you come across slave records, we also want those in the notes. So the way that you can tell if it is a slave record book is if it says the word escravo, if it is a Portuguese book. If it's Spanish, it'll say esclava or esclavo. And that's how you know. They typically put it pretty big. And we'll just want that in the notes column so that we can make sure that those are a little bit more prominent and people know to search in those if they believe they have enslaved ancestors or not. Next up, we'll be going over the instructions page. We'll go over how to use the film browser and a live display of the project. Here is the instructions page. So you will get here by going to the wiki projects, and you'll find this on the list. This is going to be called a Finding Aid project. So it would look something similar to this whenever you open it up. Eventually these will have these links. I'm recording the video right now. And then you're going to open up the task list right here. And that's the first thing you would do so that you could get to these links. So I have links to all of the books that we're going to be looking through. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open this one, and I'm going to show you how to use the film browser. So I would click this link, I open it up, and it's going to take me to a specific part of this historical records collection. And you'll see here that we have a plus, a minus, and that can be used to zoom in. You can also use either your mouse, or if you're on a laptop, you can use two fingers, kind of like you're on a smartphone, and zoom in. If you're using a mouse, the little toggle in the middle to scroll on a page will also zoom in and zoom out for you. So right now I'm using my fingers, but you can also just use the plus, the minus, so that you can zoom in and read the records at a comfortable level for your eyes. The next thing about the film browser is this is really helpful whenever you want to go all the way to the end to find that last entry. You can just scroll all the way down. Another way you can do this is just typing in right here and pressing enter, and that will take you to the page that you want to go. For instance, I know that there's only 102 pages here because of this right here, and so I pressed that in there and it took me right there, so I can click that easily, and I can scroll down here and zoom in or zoom out, do whatever I need to. There's also some helpful tools over here that you can use. For instance, if this was a little bit too difficult for you to read, you can adjust the image, you can adjust the brightness, which sometimes doesn't help, but sometimes may help depending on it. Sometimes it's easier if it goes darker, and you can kind of read the pen a little bit better. There's the contrast, which also sometimes helps kind of make the letters a little bit more bold. And if you want to apply it, you can apply it there, or you can press cancel. You can also automatically invert this, and this is really helpful for if the ink is very, very light. I wouldn't do this on this one, but if the ink is very, very light, this will make it pop up more, and you can sometimes read it a little bit better. And to just get it to go away, you just click it again. You can also turn the pages. For instance, if something happened and the book is upside down, you can flip the pages there. And that's pretty much it. That's what I use to go through. So let's go ahead and start from scratch. Let's start from where you would start if you were doing this project. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put your name next to one of these links, and that means that you're taking care of that link. You're going to be reading it. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to again click that link, and then we are going to be looking for this information: the actual parish name, the actual municipality name, and the actual date range. So first things first, we look here and we are going to zoom in so we can read it. This one has a opening statement. It also has, this priest put a nice little header up here. So I'm actually going to read this one because it looks a little bit easier to read than the opening statement. And it says it has the obituaries for the parish of Señor Bon Jesus du Parati. So I already have, and it also has the dates, which is nice. I'm actually going to check those anyways, but we're going to put the parish name right here. So it says Señor Bon Jesus. So I'm going to put that right here, Señor Bon Jesus. And then we're going to take this right here, because that's the municipality that this is in, and I'm going to put it in column E, para ti. And again, I'm putting it exactly as I see it. If I were to research this, I would find that it is now P-A-R-A-T-I instead of Y, but I'm putting it exactly as I see it. You don't have to do any research, anything like that. And then I'm going to read the entries. So again, this is going to be the first baptism entry. We can tell because it has a name right here and it starts with a date. So the first date we're looking for, it says 1874. So that would be 1874. If you need some help, again, use those wiki pages down at the bottom of the instructions page. Right here, you can find it. Scroll, 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 scroll all the way down. Right here, I can click that and it would open up that page if I needed help. And I can look here for numbers and I could translate it that way if I needed that kind of help. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click here to browse multiple images. I'm going to scroll all the way to the last page and I'm going to read the last entry. So I'm going to zoom, zoom, zoom in and try my best to read this year right here. So it says de 1908, which would be 1908. So I'm going to put that here, 1874 to 1908. And that would be it. I didn't see anything that would warrant me putting anything in the notes. Again, the point of this project is to get the different correct municipality names and the correct parish names. So you don't need to put in the notes that the municipality of Paraty is different than this, what's on here. That's going to be already assumed. But if there was something weird, for instance, or you couldn't read it, then you could always put that in the notes column right there. And again, remember from the earlier instructions, if you are to see on the opening page, if it says something like escravos over here, something like that, really be sure you put that in the notes. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. The hardest thing is going to just probably be reading the handwriting. And again, if you need help, just put something in the notes and we'll have someone come by and double check it. Thanks so much, guys.